Okay, we're on.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
And welcome back to our training session today. Our training session today is going to be risk assessment and control.
Yep.
I hope everyone has been well since our last session. Before we begin, let's quickly review some ground rules.
Yep.
Please remember to be patient and allow one person to speak at a time. Use respectful language when interacting with your peers and colleagues. And if you are unsure about anything, don't hesitate to ask. It's important to respect and consider everyone's suggestions and ideas. As we engage in our session, let's also prioritise workplace health and safety considerations by setting up ergonomic workstations.
Yep.
For emergency, the exit is by the front of the room. In case of emergency, we will go down the stairs, turn right, second flight of stairs on the left. There's another glass door, and the assembly point is on the driveway. Fire alarms. If you hear fire alarms, please remain calm and follow my instructions for a safe evacuation. There is a first aid kit located just beyond the bottom by the stairs in the warehouse. If you need assistance, please inform me.
Yep.
Before we begin, could you please write your name on the attendance paper, please? We'll start off with you, Michelle.
You do the pen back as well. There you go.
Okay. As I already authenticated your IDs in the last session, we
Yeah.
don't need to do that again.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
I want to remind everyone that our session today will last approximately 30 minutes. I encourage you to actively participate and ask questions
Yep.
during this time.
Okay. No problem.
Let's do a quick recap of our previous session. In our last session, we discussed legal obligations such as WH&S and Act
Sorry.
and regulation. Sorry. Benefits of a safe workplace, how to identify hazards and learn about different types of hazards. Did you guys watch videos on the previous session topic and today's topic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I found some videos in the YouTube.
There's quite a few out there.
Yeah.
A few informative videos.
Few informative videos.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
There's quite many actually.
Yeah, quite a lot.
And some are not updated. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's always other
Yeah.
videos coming out.
There's always new
But they
more
always-
material.
All of them give you some more knowledge into this topic. And
Yeah.
I ran into some older rules, right?
Old rules.
Yeah, the evolution from 2000s to now, you know.
Okay, very good. Good. Didn't know they went back that far, but that's all right. It's good.
It wasn't intentional. Yeah, sorry. sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's what Okay. Today we will learn about risk assessment and control.
Yeah.
We will learn about identifying, assessing, and managing risks within their respective environments. We'll also learn about the hierarchical approach to controlling risks, enabling them to prioritize and implement effective control measures to mitigate workplace hazards. Throughout this session, we'll engage with video presentation, review slide materials, and pose questions related to these topics we cover. These questions will serve as a formative assessment, helping me gauge our understanding of concepts as we progress. So let's begin the session by watching a short video about risk assessment. Everyone can see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright.
Around here.
Yeah.
Making safety a priority at work can seem complicated and time-consuming. But there's a single, simple tool that can also make a huge impact toward eliminating the chance of being injured. It's fast, it's portable, it's free. It applies to any kind of work, any kind of business, and even at home. It's a risk assessment, and most likely it's something you already do, at least informally, when you're not at work. You look for cars before backing up in the parking lot. You scan for toys left out on the stairs before you step. You evaluate the ground under your ladder before you climb. Chances are, you've paused and said to yourself, someone could get hurt. That hesitation is a risk assessment. What if you turned this subconscious activity into a more deliberate one and applied it to the work you do each day? It could make a big difference in your safety in a place where the risks are likely even greater. According to the National Safety Council, a worker is injured on the job every 7 seconds. Many of those injuries are caused by hazards that could have been reduced or eliminated altogether. The truth is, even the very best safety equipment and protocols can't compare to the value of simply noticing, then removing the risks when possible. That's where risk assessment comes in. And practicing risk assessment can make you the most valuable member of the team, whoever or wherever you are. How do you perform a risk assessment? Now, it's as simple as jotting down the answers to 3 questions. 1. What are we going to do? 2. How could we get hurt or damage equipment? 3. How can we prevent those injuries or damage? It's really that simple. The first question, what are we going to do? Sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised by what it can reveal. Discussing a day's task and putting it in writing gets all team members on the same page and usually uncovers differences in what everyone is thinking. This question helps clarify who's involved in the task, how the various parts will be accomplished and in what order, the equipment you'll use, what the task looks like complete, and more. The next question, how could we get hurt or damage equipment, probably has at least several answers, from minor to more extreme. If you've performed a task many times, you might have seen someone get hurt already. That's an easy start to your list. As you continue to identify risks, make sure everyone contributes to answering this question. Something one person notices may be very different from the next. The last question, how can we prevent those injuries or damage, is where the written risk assessment produces action. And it's another question that's best answered with some good discussion and collaboration. Often, risk preventions are easy to implement, but also easy to overlook. And sometimes, you can't eliminate a risk, but just talking about it makes everyone more aware to look out for themselves and each other. What are we going to do? How can we get hurt or damage equipment? And how can we prevent those injuries or damage? These 3 questions make up a simple risk assessment that can take minutes to perform, but save countless hours and costs in the long run. And since you've written them down, you can refer to them the next time the same task is on the docket. So, we promised a safety tool that's quick, free, portable, have you have it. Now, take the lead in your workplace and in your home at spotting and reducing risk. For more information on becoming a risk spotting, safety promoting MVP, check out the many resources at Montana State Farm.
Okay. Everybody loves Montana.
Montana State.
Okay, just give me a moment while I pull up
I know.
the next phase in this session, which is should be our PowerPoints.
One sec, I think I touched your charger. Let me fix it. Yep.
Okay, that's all right. Can you see the screen all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, risk assessment process. Understanding and managing the tasks, risks is crucial for ensuring safety and the risk assessment process involves methodically identifying, analyzing and evaluating potential hazards, effective control measures, implementing effective control measures. So what are we saying here? What is it saying here for our risk assessment process? Sure.
Risk assessment process, I think it's gonna define how we're gonna, I think in categories,
Yeah.
depending upon how the severity of the risk,
Yeah.
and we're gonna label them accordingly.
Okay. Yes, probably at the swim stage, yes, and probably on the site when you're actually down there doing the thing, what measures you're gonna take to mitigate the risks itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Importance of risk assessment, proactive approach, compliance and regulations, business continuity, informed decision making. Proactive approach, risk assessment allows organizations to identify and address potential issues. Many industries have specific regulations and standards that require control risks. Business continuity, effective risk management, safeguard an organization's operation, assets and reputation. Risk assessment provides invaluable data and insights to support informed decision making.
But is it an actual form, this risk assessment, or
How do you mean?
is it like a form that I can find somewhere, or
There would be templates out there.
templates
There
of
would be templates, same as like a swims, pre-starts, but they're mainly
That's what a safety officer does on site, or he just does
yes,
the same, or it's
yes,
not?
and company itself has to do it.
I think the safety of
Mainly through the parenting company.
No,
The parent company, let's say for the like a builder, a risk assessment, they would identify a risk, what could happen, and they would safeguard themselves by implementing themselves
Policies.
certain things that they would do to isolate that risk.
Fair enough. So it's strictly based
Not
on
necessarily. It could be as far down as an individual or an employee or a worker
fair
themselves
enough. Interesting.
implementing it.
Fair enough.
Hazard identification.
Yeah.
First step in risk assessment process is systematically identify all potential hazards. Hazard identification. We're all capable of identifying hazards.
Yeah.
We're all capable of it. If something looks wrong, looks dangerous, it's usually a hazard. Anything that you think can potentially harm you, harm someone else, that is a hazard. And you don't want to be responsible for that.
I find that actually interesting because I lead some people too, and sometimes my decision might lead to potential
Harm to someone.
Harm
to
to
somebody, which I feel is a very strong sense of responsibility, not that
We
not happening.
I think everybody as an individual on a work site probably has a duty of care or a sense of responsibility to another's welfare.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So it would be if we get better in other identification, or if I get better in if I
Identifying,
can push
yeah.
my team to get better, I think we should be alright.
Risk analysis, quantifying risks, evaluating consequences, leveraging data and expertise. Risk analysis, well, quantifying risk is risk analysis. Risk analysis, you would we'll take a scenario. You go out onto site. Your guys have to work at a height. What are the risks?
Falling, I would say.
Falling. So what would you?
Tripping, dropping debris, dropping debris.
So how would you? What would we do with that?
Usually when we work on heights, the first and foremost thing is that we need to have a harness on. We need to make sure it's free from any sort of damage.
Fall protection system.
And
Do you have to wear a harness all the time now, or because it was?
I
It wasn't
think
like that back then when I was
wherever
working.
wherever there's a potential of you falling, you gotta wear a harness.
How do I know that the screen is ready for me to
Well,
hop
there'll
on?
be the people that install it or the qualified people would be the people that usually give the okay for people to proceed with their works on it. It's not you just willy-nilly run out onto it.
No.
Oh, sorry, guys. So, just my question: if I'm working in a roof, the roof has a, let's say, a guardrail kind of thing, do I still need to put harness on when I'm working there or no?
If you're inside the guardrail, no. No. But some sites will say no, you still gotta wear it. They just don't want to wear or have that happen,
Okay.
which is fair enough.
Fair enough. They
Understandable
want
enough.
to protect people. That's fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
Careful consideration is given to the potential consequences of each risk.
No.
So what is the consequence of a risk? Somebody falls. What are the consequences?
There could be many.
There's many
injuries.
Minor to even death, I would say. You know.
Yeah.
And not only himself, maybe he can fall on top of another person in the level below, and then harm him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens if that happens?
That I think the first thing I think would, like we discussed in the previous session, we report. Like
There's a report.
Yeah, we report.
Okay,
straight
but
away.
if somebody has to go out to the hospital,
Yeah.
the first, and if there's a severe enough injury, the first people that will be contacted is work cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they do?
And they run their own investigation.
Yeah.
I heard they're pretty tough on.
They're
like,
pretty
when,
tough, yeah. And
when it comes to the face-to-face interrogation, it's like worse than the police.
they hold more power than the police.
Some psychological techniques or something. I heard.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Risk analysis draws upon a variety of data sources, industry best practices, and subject expertise to objectively access nature and mitigate and identify risks.
Okay.
Risk evaluation. Evaluate severity, assess likelihood, and prioritize risks. Evaluating severity of a risk, like what's basically you being able to tell what's going to cause more, more harm than which the other. So a guy working on a 10-story edge of a building, or a guy working on a 3-foot platform ladder, which one's going to be more
I would say obviously the
more
guy-
severity? Which one holds more severity?
I think I would say the
The
one
10-story.
yeah.
So that would be your prioritizing that.
Yeah.
So you would prioritize that by, let's say, the guy on a 10-story, you would make him make sure he's properly trained, holds the right tickets
Yeah.
according to what he's got to do.
Yeah.
His harness,
Yeah.
he's got his static line, if need be. And the
everything
guy
related
on
to-
the 3-foot platform ladder, you just provide him with a 3-foot platform ladder, and he's
Maybe
it's
inform him.
compliant.
Yeah.
yeah. The hierarchy of controls in inverted pyramid with 5 levels from most effective to least effective. We've all come across this. Elimination, substitution, engineering controls, administrative controls, personal protective equipment, which is the right at the bottom. Elimination of the risk. We'll use a scenario where you're working around, you're carrying out works around the wall in a driveway, and you got a forklift running up and down the driveway as well. How would you eliminate that risk?
I don't know. As I said,
What could you do to the
Traffic control.
forklift so he's not running up and down anymore, up and down the
you
driveway?
ask him to start to stop, or
Yeah.
you ask him to
Yeah.
stop doing that
Go
because
around another way.
it's just
If he
dangerous
listens,
if
stop.
they.
Yeah.
Does
Maybe
it-
put
does
the
it
traffic
work?
control in place. Maybe someone holding the.
Does it work if you ask sometimes? Or
Yeah,
not?
well,
In your
usually,
experience,
if you're not-
they.
If they understand the risk, usually if they don't understand the risk, you go to somebody higher up in the food chain.
They'll make.
Yeah, and they should understand.
Because sometimes even if it's too close, it's too close.
Yeah. Substitution, you're working at heights. What would be a substitution? You got to paint a wall 3 stories high. How would you substitute what you got to do?
Working at height, maybe a stable platform other than the
3 stories high.
Yeah.
What about an EWP or a man box?
Yeah. I think that would be better.
Yeah. Engineering controls.
Sense.
With the building and
I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Engineering controls.
What would you say?
Probably same. Man box, crane, maybe abseilers.
Have you used the swing staging before?
Yeah, swing stages. Yeah, that's a good
Is
one.
they safe or? I heard there's a little bit panicky in there, you know.
Yeah, there is a bit of a panic if you're scared of heights or don't put yourself in there.
No
It's
easy.
fun when it's windy.
No
Yeah, it's
easy.
real fun.
Yeah.
Real fun. Getting slapped around like a yo-yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Administrative controls. Well, administrative. What do we think as administration is?
Maybe from the management.
Management. That's when you like administrative controls is that's when you first go onto site, and you got to fill out all your paperwork.
Yeah.
That basically say that you are qualified or ready to do
Yeah.
carry out the task at hand.
The swims?
Swims,
Safety check.
pre-starts,
Pre-start, sorry.
dailies, personal PPE, which is your last line, last resort
Yeah.
to somebody being safe is your basically your high vis, hard hat, gloves, Yeah. Elimination. Eliminating a risk. We got eliminating a risk.
We can eliminate the use of using a platform ladders with an EWP.
Or a scissor. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good, very good. So have we traded one thing for another thing? One evil for another, or you think better?
Like everything has its own risk, but it's.
I think the one you're saying would come under substitution.
Yeah.
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 Eliminating is like
Elimination, instead of maybe, instead of using a scissor, maybe use an extended roller pole.
yeah.
Or
The one
use
from the ground,
something, a modified attachment for your roller pole to grab the brush. So you don't have to even be up there.
No,
Yeah.
interesting point.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. It's a good insight.
Substitution. Yeah, substitution.
That's what Michelle was saying actually.
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying. Use maybe.
That's a substitution. Instead of being on a platform ladder, you being an EWP or a scissor. You're still up there, but
Most
You-
people.
More
yeah.
safer.
you've substituted the risk. So yeah. Instead of falling off a ladder, you get thrown out of a
Yeah.
scissor lift.
Yeah.
More height.
Yeah.
Engineering controls. Isolating, remote operation, ergonomic design. Isolating and containment, engineering control. Engineering controls physically isolate workers from hazards such as machine guards, enclosures, ventilation systems that capture and contain harmful substances. Yeah. We can think of this as a wash bay for paint. We're isolating the harm and we're isolating the contamination.
Yeah. I would say even when you use the grinder, putting a guard on would come
Yeah.
under the engineering
Yeah.
controls. Yeah.
True. Remote automation is maybe try to do the task without even being there, which is
Yeah.
not yet. We haven't achieved that in painting yet.
That's what we need.
Administrative controls involve implementing policies, procedures, and work practices to minimize exposure to hazards. These include training, job rotations. So if you're doing a repetitive task, something that's, let's say you're painting door frames, you're not painting door frames for the next 3 years, you swap over with someone occasionally to break the cycle so it doesn't become hazardous to you. Personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment, PPE, acts as a last line of defense against hazards when other control measures are not feasible. So let's say you're working in a place where you can't use a vacuum for some reason. You're carrying out, you're grinding concrete. You can't get a vacuum there for some reason. Your next line of defense will be a full face mask, a respirator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say even with the vacuum, I think it's recommended to use the mask.
A mask as well. True that. Monitoring, continuous evaluation, feedback loops, periodic reviews, continuous improvement. Always evaluate, regularly monitor the effectiveness of the implements. So if you've implemented a policy or something, ask for feedback from your employees. How is it working? Is there something better we can do?
Yeah.
And listen too.
And listen, true that. Listen to them. With this last one, this brings us to the end of our what do you call it? Our PowerPoints. Just give me a minute while I pull up the other part of this session.
Take your time.
So with this, let me present. Further down. With this, we've come to the end of our session. As we wrap up, we learned about risk assessment and its controls. We also gained insights into identifying, assessing and managing risks within their respective environments,
Yeah.
and the hierarchical approach to control risks, enabling them to prioritise and implement effective control measures to mitigate workplace hazards. To further enrich your understanding of the topics discussed, I encourage you to explore related YouTube videos, as they can offer valuable insights into subject matter. Before we conclude, please check your email for the handout and learners' feedback.
Yeah, will do.
I'll do that.
Your input is valuable in shaping future sessions, so please take a moment to fill it out and send it back to me.
No.
Thank you for participation and engagement.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you in our next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for sharing your experience.